Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 69 of the Xbox Hall of Gamers podcast. This week, as always, I'm joined by our wonderful producer, Charlotte.
Hi.
And our special guest, returning guest from the old RGS days, Mr. Just Jake himself.
Hello. It's good to be back.
Yeah, it's been a while. It's good to have you on the show. I've been meaning to get you on for ages. We're going to talk about, we're probably going to be talking about fighting games. We're going to be talking about Lord of the Rings. I've got some opinions on JRPGs, as does Jake. And we've got some controversial, topics coming up around the Ukraine and Atomic Heart, which has sort of come to light. But as always, you can see the show live on Twitch. You can come hang out with us. Xbox Hall of Gamers is the place to find us. We do the show live every week. Nearly every week, usually on a Saturday or a Friday, depending on who our guests are.
Every week.
Usually every week. But yeah, come hang out in the chat, say hi, ask questions, comment on stuff. You get to see the whole visual experience. Otherwise, you'll be able to catch the show later on all good audio platforms, as you're probably listening to this now, or we upload the VOD to YouTube as well, just in case you want to see our beautiful faces.
A second time.
Yes. But without any further ado, Char's going to transition us to Song of the Week. Take it away.
Let's make sure that I can do this right this time. Where is the... There we go. Unmute it. Okay. Ready, steady, go.
It's 100 hours.
No, it fucked itself. One moment, friends. I just need to change over something. This is what happens when your desktop is set to have the music on a different thing. So let's do this, and let's go back. We can edit this in post, right?
Yeah, video editing is
Sure,
real easy.
cross
No one will
fingers.
notice the big fucking transition.
Okay, 3, 2, 1.
It's 100-hour-long affair, and I'm stuck in my gaming chair. Will I make it? I just don't know. But I've got so many hours to go, and the story's nowhere to be seen. Every chapter's the same routine, 'cause I know what I have to do, and I'm tempted to skip the scenes. But the game is a drawn-out bore, 'cause the battles go on and on. Nearly skipped all the dialogue as I try to focus on turn-based JRPG combat. It's a...
And that's it.
All right. I was going to do more of the song, but I was like, if you hadn't got it by that point, you probably weren't going to get it. So
Yeah, I was quite confused because I was like, wait, you cut it off right before right in the middle of the chorus?
yeah, but I was also like a minute into the song, and I was like,
Yeah.
people don't need to hear any more of this, to be
Yeah.
honest.
I think you did pretty well. I mean, it was better than the Fame version.
Yes, it definitely was better than Fame. Yes, but
it's still
I'm
one
getting.
of the first Song of the Weeks I ever listened to, and was like, oh, this is what I'm in for in this friendship. Okay.
Yep. Yep.
Yep.
All right. So, any guesses around the horn?
Oh, I definitely know what it is.
I still don't know the name or the artist. I feel like I recognize it mostly from my running audio for cover bands days. And I think
That's 100%. Yeah.
Yeah.
really
When you guys
did
did
yourself.
when you guys did Sweet Caroline with Fire, that triggered memories in me from doing cover bands for 3 years.
Okay. I'll tell you the song that I thought it was and was wrong. So initially I thought it was a different song to the one that was actually done. I thought it was Starman.
Yeah, and I can definitely see that.
David Bowie.
Yeah. It is
Now,
David Bowie.
Yes, it is David Bowie, but it's not Starman. It is, in fact, Life on Mars.
Yeah, that is correct. It is. Yes, it is Life on Mars. Yeah, I was just listening to some Bowie yesterday, and I was like, I need to put a song together. I'm going to just use this one. So claps and chat to everyone who got that one. Good job.
Little tiny claps.
For people who aren't on our Patreon, I always release the song a little bit early after I've recorded it the day before, so you can go and listen to it early. Otherwise, you can just hear it on the show. But if you want to look at some of the old ones, make sure you subscribe to our Patreon. Come say hi, give us some money. We make that all available to any tier. And we also do behind the scenes, so you get to hear the sort of before and after of the shows, which I'll warn you right now is usually just fucking around with the cameras and being like, the fuck, why is OBS ruining everything for everyone?
Although I think I fixed that one. I think I fixed it. Miracle of all miracles, the cameras were perfect today. I didn't even have to mess with them at all.
Let's hope it stays that way. All right, well, that's probably enough of that. Let's get into having a chat with our friend Jake here. Thank you for joining us, Jake. It's great to have you on.
Good to be here, as always.
It's like I said in the intro, it's been quite a while since you've been on a show with myself. I guess let's just in case we have new listeners or anything like that, because it has been a while. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, I'm just Jake. People call me Jake. I'm also known as Reptar because I decided when I changed my name on all social media platforms, I wasn't going to do it on video game consoles because I figured that part didn't matter. But so yeah, I'm sure if you've seen me around, it's probably as Reptar. But on the outside world, I go by Jake. I've been playing games for as long as I can remember. I've been achievement hunting since the first time I popped an achievement on Xbox 360 at my friend's house because we didn't have one. And a couple of years ago, I decided to start a Discord community, Achievement Hunters Anonymous. If you've seen us floating around, and that's been a super.
Yeah, I was gonna say definitely tell us about AHA because we
reference AHA all the time, and
we do indeed. We've had a lot of guests on from there as well. Firehawk, Mike, Dio.
Yeah,
very very close communities for sure. A lot of intermingling. It's great.
I mean, also dividing the gap between me and Dio dating, but that's like the two houses coming together.
Yeah, basically, that's a good way to look at it. Yeah, so I guess I kind of started the community a few years ago because I had just recently I'd taken a break from gaming for a couple of years. Life got busy and stuff, and I just got back into it after college and like a couple of years in a career, and I didn't have any of my old achievement hunting group, and I was pretty over TA sessions. The creation of it came because of Overwatch events. And I had just came off of doing, I think, 10 days in a row of 4-hour sessions for the division boosting.
Oh, boy, yeah, I know that feeling.
And those two things combined, not having people to do Overwatch events with and feeling pretty hopeless that I would never get them done without a dedicated group because everyone else already had one. And then those 16-player sessions, 40 hours of it. I was like, I need to find a group of people. I have a couple friends from this division group that I've met, which have been cool. Maybe I'll hit them up, and I have some people on my TA feed, and I'm on the TA Facebook group. So I decided to just make a Discord and throw the link out, and a few people joined. And just word of mouth, it just kept kind of growing and growing, and it's been awesome. I've met a lot of really great people because of it, a lot of really great other communities like Hall of Gamers and a few others around. So yeah, that's pretty much how it came to be and where it's at now. It's been really good. It's been a great experience. I'm very, very glad I did it for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I totally agree. I think it's fantastic, and it lets us get away with things we won't be able to say on Hog, which is nice.
Let out an appropriateness.
Yeah, it's AHA where you guys go to do the things that Hog can't see.
Not safe for work memes is always hilarious.
That's right. Yeah, AHA is notoriously, I don't know if it's notoriously or not, but we brand ourselves very much as the degens of the achievement hunting.
Oh, 100%. I think when I remember when I joined, because I had only just started being part of all of the little communities, and I didn't actually have an Xbox just yet. And it was all because I'd followed RGS and was behind the scenes helping with audio quality control. And Matt had been like, "Oh, you should join AHA. You'll fit right in." I was like, "Okay, sure."
No truer words have ever been spoken.
Absolutely, I couldn't agree more. I didn't know that's how it went.
No,
That's
this is
great.
how it
Yeah,
went.
that's
Yeah, like I did not know how to use Discord at the time. I was like in like 2 Discords total. Like one random one for Lore Olympus and then the RGS one. And so I joined, and then literally within like the first 5 minutes, I'd posted in not so for work memes, and then I was like, "This is my home now. I live here. Like, you're never getting rid of me." Like,
yeah, we definitely get a little rowdy in AHA. We definitely just like to fuck around. It's a good time. We try not to take it too seriously. Yeah, it's fun. It's a fun place. I need to be harder on myself as an admin, and I need to do more things that are community oriented. I've been decided to go back to school a couple years ago, and that absorbed my life. And the server is kind of more just people who hang out and play games with each other at this point, and the community aspects.
You do have some community aspects. I mean, like you do
There's
have your backup leader.
Yes, we do have Valak. Valak does a lot of great things for me, and the server would probably be dead without him.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to cut this out because his head's already fucking big enough as is. So.
Yeah. No, I've been thinking about trying to get back into doing more community-oriented things and competitions and stuff too. So, yeah, look out for that in the future. I think we'll try to work some stuff out. It'll be cool.
Well, you're almost finished with school though, so.
I am. I'm 3 months away from finishing full-time as being a full-time student. I have one more class left in the fall, and I actually have an interview on Monday for an internship.
Oh wow!
So, yeah, that should be
great.
Cool. Yeah, that'd be pretty cool. That'd be very cool.
Yeah.
All right. Oh yeah, go for it.
I was just gonna say I didn't realize, like not being in school for a few years and doing a career thing, like because when I went to school, you go to school for 16 or 20 years of your life or whatever in a row, and that's what you're in school and you work a part-time job and that's it. And then you get out of school and you work full-time. Going back to school, it took literally a single semester for me to be like, how did I do that before? Like this is insane. So I'm super stoked to be out of school soon and have free time back. It's funny to say I'm gonna have free time when I'm getting into a full-time job, but like I will genuinely have so much more free time. It's insane.
For sure. I know what you mean. I considered going back and doing my masters.
Like completions.
Yeah.
Right. I might actually play games again.
Oh, well, yeah, maybe we should have got you on the show in like 3 months. Oh well.
I've been playing a lot more lately. It's fine.
All right. I don't really think we have too much in the way of questions this week, although Charlie, you did ask something about inversion.
I did indeed. There are dogs in the background, so I might have to continue to mute myself occasionally.
That's fair.
I did actually. So my question was around playing inverted, and has anyone had the experience where, like, so for my entire life, I have always played with inverted wide camera, and like, I just for some reason could not play without it. And then I started a game recently where that changed, and I don't know why it changed, but suddenly I was like, I can't play inverted. What the fuck? Like, what's going on? Why is this not working? Weirdly, though, I said that right, and then the other day I was playing on a different controller. I was very, very tired. I was remote playing through my phone while lying in bed going, I'm so tired. I just want to play a little bit before I go to sleep. And I had to turn the inverted back on.
I mean, it sounds like, yeah.
And so then, but then the next day I went back to that same game, played on my other controller, my orange one, my custom lab one, went back to not playing inverted.
I mean, it just sounds like you're a Switch, to be honest. I mean, I'm just, that's.
Well,
I mean, it's fitting for episode 69, I suppose.
But, I and I haven't tried it with other games yet, but I did go back and play, so I'll talk about it a little bit later, because I've been doing the Valentine's relay with Dio. And some of the games that I've gone back in and played to get an achievement in, I actually had to go and turn off all of the settings that I had on for inversion. So now all the games that I would normally play with the inverted setting on, I've turned off.
Interesting.
Yeah, and I don't know what it is that's just flicked in my brain or my control, like my motor function for the control. But yeah, it's just all changed. It's like it's rewired my brain or something. Have you guys ever experienced that, or like changed the way that you play and gone, why can't I do that anymore?
I can adapt. I never really thought about it until like cause like I never looked at those kind of settings for the longest time playing games. I never looked at settings. Like I just hit start and played the game. Like I didn't care about options. Now the first thing I do is options every single time. I make sure my controls are correct. I make sure subtitles are on. I balance out the audio because I think video games are terrible at balancing their audio. And so for the longest time, it was just like I just played whatever was in the game. Now I prefer for sure inverted on first person. Not inverted on first person. Third person, I think it kind of depends. And then flying needs to be inverted. If it's not inverted, it feels weird. If it doesn't give me an option, which is very rare these days, that's usually just like a retro game thing, I can deal, and I just have to train my brain. A game that actually, funny enough, crazy that I've been playing a game recently that like it fits into this. I've been playing Spyro: A Hero's Tale on PS2. Cool. That has an inverted X camera that you can't change.
You can't change.
And that was
I hate that.
That was weird to get used to. First thing I did was I booted up the game. I thought maybe I configured my controllers wrong. And I'm like, what is this? And I mean, it was all right. And there was just no setting to change it. I'm like, this is weird.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I got used to it eventually. Like I just playing the game for a few hours. Eventually I was like, okay.
Yeah, that was kind of how I am with most stuff. I've trained myself most of the time to be able to do both. I prefer inverted because I grew up playing a lot of like flight sim with joystick, so pulling back is to go up, so it just kind of worked in my brain. And the other games I used to play before that like didn't have control, like didn't have like it was before the dual stick days, so it was like, well, hey, you want to move the camera, you got to stand still, press a button, and then aim the camera yourself, and then keep moving. Yeah, like I definitely prefer inverted, but I could like one of the ones that always messes it up is the recently was playing The Devil in Me and The Quarry by Supermassive Games. So Supermassive. And they have a thing where you can invert the camera, but it doesn't work correctly because the way, like when you tilt the camera, it also moves the whoever's holding the torch, the character you're controlling will aim the torch in different locations. It doesn't change the inversion on the torch moving. So you look up, but the character points down. And so it's like super, like it gets really weird and iffy. So I'm like, okay, I want to look up at this thing. And it's like, okay, well, the light is going down. It's like, well, I could kind of get it to work, but I can't see anything now. So eventually and so I'm sure they fixed it in the later games, but I was just like, fuck it. I'm just gonna deal with it, and we'll just set it to non-inverted. It's not that big deal. First person shooter, I have to be inverted. I can't deal with it. Everything else I can usually do okay. Because I was also playing Danganronpa a little while ago, and there's some like mini games where you got to like tap things and that kind of stuff, and it's like the battle of like, okay, well, sometimes I want it inverted if I'm aiming for something, but if I'm just selecting things, I don't necessarily want to be like, if I'm going to like stuff on a menu, then I don't want it to be inverted. But if I'm aiming to shoot something in the face, I do, and I don't know what the difference is there, but there is something in there where I'm just like, menus, yes, keep it normal, shooting, no, like precision aiming, I need inverted. But like you said, Jake, I'm pretty sure I could train myself to go back to how it used to be.
In saying that as well, like, so you talked about menus, and I didn't think about that until just now. So I have also realized that the in the game that I'm playing, where I'm playing like aiming and running and moving the camera, that's all fine, not inverted, right? But the menus are still, I'm like, I don't like the way that the menus are, because now they don't move in the same way. So if I want to go to the right, it doesn't go to the right, and I'm like, what the fuck? So I'm having to like deal with the menus being weird. Like I wish I could change the menus to be like inverted, because that makes more intuitive sense. But then playing the game, I'm fine. Weirdly.
Yeah, see, like I remember playing like The Walking Dead, for example. Like like anything that's a point and click, I'm like, well, I want to be able to move the cursor the way I want to move it.
Yeah.
And like if I'm just like, oh, I'm just gonna look over here, I'm just gonna look over here. But then the minute it's like action scene, aim this thing. I'm like, oh shit. I'm like, I'm not inverted, I'm going the wrong way. I don't know, like something about my brain is just like you get into a situation, I'm like, my brain's like flip everything. But I don't know.
Yeah.
We'll see. Yeah, so I think that's pretty much the only question we've got this week.
I didn't see any others.
Yeah, so maybe we'll get straight into the news. All right. So the first news story is Mortal Kombat basically got stealth announced / leaked, quote unquote, I guess, depending on who you ask. Mortal Kombat 12 is apparently going to be coming out this year, which is not hugely surprising because there was a lot of rumors about it happening. I think it was rumored to be like announced at the Game Awards last year and didn't end up happening. Yeah, I don't know. What do you?
Well, we've got it. We did find a couple of questions, but I'm just.
Oh, you did? Oh.
For... Oh yes, okay. I did see your one, Cameron. So there is one. In there from Isaac.
Oh, is there?
There is one from Cameron. I'm just posting them in the chat for us.
Oh, I'm sorry. I must have missed those.
That's right. They're from like 2 weeks ago. Well,
I'm sorry.
Isaac's is from 2 weeks ago. Cameron's is from last week. So.
Gotcha. Okay.
There's one that we are ignoring. I'm just checking if there's any. Okay, I can fix that. One moment. Let me just do that. Is that better, Cameron? Right. So go with the So do the first question first that I put in chat from Isaac.
Says, hey guys, last week I asked about hard achievements, so this week I'll ask about easy ones. Are there any easy games that you played that you actually found fun? Thanks for the show. Thank you very much, Isaac. I apologize for missing your question there. Easy games. I mean, like I like easy games a lot. Like that's like I'm not super great at games, so like easy games are like my jam, especially if I have like an interesting story. Like I'm here for an experience. I'm not here to be challenged, mentally or otherwise. I don't know. I don't know. Well, I mean, I don't know. Jake, do you think Okami counts as an easy game?
I guess. Wow. I don't know how to define that easy. I think it depends on everyone. Yeah, it was easy. Okami was an easy experience. Like I don't think I died once.
Yeah.
But it's long. And so reading that question, the first thing I did was go to TA and sort by time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you threw Okami at me, and I'm like, whoa, that's a 50-hour game. I'm like, well, but I didn't die a single time. I don't even think I got like half health once. So like that is an easy game, I guess. So it's like I guess there needs to be a broader like what is easy? Is it quick and mindless, or is it something that's you don't have to have really much skill to get?
I guess we've talked about
even if it takes hours,
easy games though before, and the fact that like easy games are defined by each person as well. So like yeah, like it's not necessarily going to be the same easy game for each of us. Like for me, I think my answer would be like the Porgy games, because I really like puzzle and word challenge games, and I'm like they're fun and easy, right? But I like just doing them. I enjoy them.
Yeah.
I like doing the puzzle aspect of those kind of games. But like
I mean not to like be like a major flexer or anything, but like there's a lot of games then by that question that I would say absolutely there's a ton of easy games I really loved, because there's not a bunch of games I necessarily found particularly challenging. Like I have some hard stuff on my tag, but like
because it depends on the person, really.
Yeah, the majority of stuff that I play is not overly difficult by design.
And even the quote unquote hard stuff, it's hard for me to look at as hard because like I guess I just have the mindset of I just keep running at the wall until I break through it. Like so I never finish a hard thing and go, wow, I'm really good at games. I just kept going for it until eventually it happened.
Yeah.
Also, like most games these days have either accessibility or story modes and that kind of stuff, which is really, really good. I mean, like I was looking at like Persona 5 amazing fucking game.
Yeah.
But like has a like a safe mode where you just basically can't lose. Like if you die, it's just like, hey, do you want to just be back with all your health? And you can just go yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like I used that once by accident because I didn't realize I put myself on that mode, but I never died because it's easy mode.
Yeah.
But it's like, yeah, it's a great fucking game. And yeah, relatively straightforward. I mean, there's a lot to that game, so maybe that doesn't count as easy. But
here's an easy game.
Well, like Raji
Sorry,
was an easy game. Raji is an easy one, and I did that story mode.
yeah,
I'm just looking at my list here. I take any chance I get to plug this game, but SpongeBob Battle for Bikini Bottom Rehydrated.
Oh yeah,
super easy. It's super chill, easy experience. Like you don't even really need a guide for it. And it's still like relatively meaty in that sense, like 12-15 hours. You just chill, and it's just a really satisfying collectathon, retro collectathon in a modern shell. It's great.
And in that same sort of vein of that sort of third person platform and stuff, like the Gunk was another one that I played recently. That it's just like relatively chill experience, like there's a little bit of combat, there's a little bit of this, but like pretty straightforward, like kind of just an interesting exploring game with some relatively simple puzzles. I'm just looking through my list as well. It's like, like Lost in Random is another good one that was kind of like, really simple game. Well, not simple, but just like not terribly challenging.
It's not too hard. Like the collectibles aren't that bad. Then like there's not that many collectibles when you think about it. Like it's a pretty straightforward game.
Yeah. So to answer your question there, Isaac, basically every fucking game that I play. is usually relatively simple in some way or another because I intentionally stay away from your Ninja Gaidens and your Devil May Cries and your massive.
But the question was any easy games that you play which you actually found fun. So that
most of the stuff I play I find fun in some way or another.
Yeah. Until you like throw a controller across the room or
well, like sometimes you end up with Dante's Inferno,
Yeah.
I'm doing Devil May Cry soon, so
God, I need to do Devil May Cry 4 on the 360, and I've just been dreading going back to it.
Okay.
That's what I will be like. Yeah, that's a hard game. Like throwing yourself against the wall with that one, sure, but that's a hard game.
Yeah.
Paradise Killer, which again I did the spoiler cast last week about that with Alex. Really easy game, but one of those really interesting. Again, I like talking about experiences, things that are strange or interesting, unique. Yeah, man, I played a lot of trash. Holy shit. I'm just going through my list. I was like,
I like this. It's an interesting question though, because like my gut reaction was baby game.
Yeah.
But then it's like,
actually,
they didn't say, baby game. They said easy game.
Yeah, which is different.
Like Metal Hellsinger is a great example, right? Has the assist mode in there. Not a super long game. Really cool art style. Really good frenetic action. Fucking music is amazing. But yeah, you put the assist mode on and you just put the game on easy and you can just fly through it.
Yeah.
Which is like that's how I'm going to play that game because like
it's more
that's
fun
how
that
I want
way
to play
too.
the game. Yeah.
Yeah. And then we had a question from Cameron in there, which was, what Xbox IP deserves a Lego set?
Ooh, Xbox IP.
Two easy ones. Halo.
Well,
I think,
but hear me out.
There was one.
Hear me out.
Did Halo get
Imagine-
Mega Bloks? I think it was.
Yeah, I think Mega Bloks. Yeah.
Okay, but imagine a Cortana and a Master Chief as Lego.
That would be kind of cool, actually. Yeah.
I was gonna say, I'm like, the two biggest Microsoft IPs are already some sort of Lego. They're Mega Bloks.
There's something out there, right?
Lego. Somebody's gonna get there and be like, it's Mega Bloks actually not Lego. But
Banjo-Kazooie?
Banjo-Kazooie would be cool.
Nuts and bolts. They just
yeah, imagine. But hey, that would actually be a pretty cool set, though. Imagine
that
if
would
they
work.
did
I mean, you could build your own shit. Yeah.
Modular like Banjo-Kazooie Legos, nuts and bolts, different sets that you can like combine together to make different vehicles.
A Lego Banjo-Kazooie nuts and bolts board game.
Yeah. Build the worst contraption possible.
I'm marking that as my idea. Lego,
right, talk to Rare. They're not doing anything these days.
I have an unironic answer. I have a real answer. I think so. One of my favorite things that Lego's done is like Legos for adults. they do like the Lego architect
Yes.
and like the Lego models and
then
stuff.
the flowers and things. Yeah.
Lego backroom casting couch. Yep.
Wait.
What?
Forza. You
Forza.
Well, Forza did do Lego with
they had the DLC.
They had the DLC that had
They
it.
did.
Were there
imagine if
actual
they started
sets?
coming out with sets.
I don't think they came out with
sets.
amazing.
I would
cool.
build a Lego car that was. I mean, it technically would really, honestly, just be like Lego cars, but
It's
like
just a car,
got a Forza
yeah.
logo on
Yeah.
it. It comes with a Forza sticker.
Yeah.
I don't care. Whatever. That's the one I'm gonna go with. This Forza branded Legos. Let me build a Lego McLaren F1 and then stick a Forza sticker on it, and then I'll be
Yeah,
like,
just have some guy doing a Fortnite dance next to it, and you basically that's Forza. You got it.
Yeah, exactly.
That's
the one I can think of. Sea of Thieves could be cool too.
You know what they definitely should do, and they should definitely turn this into a game as well afterwards. Is Gears of War. I would love to see like a
Gears
Marcus
of War
Phoenix
Lego?
as like a Lego set, and you have like the chainsaw gun, and you have like a locust, and when you chainsaw, he just explodes into like studs.
That's cool.
I have my opinions of Gears of War, but that would be sick. I think I'd love to have a Marcus Phoenix minifigure.
Yeah,
that's just like hit the torso is just really big and beefy,
yeah.
and then just a tiny
leg,
head,
tiny legs, and just massive. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
I would love
that.
that.
Would be amazing.
I'd buy one.
Yeah, because there's a lot that they can pull from in terms of like things they can build, lots of different like vehicles and structures and like enemy types and all that kind of stuff. And it'd also be like I would play Lego Gears of War on the Xbox, and we just go around just chainsawing locusts. Basically, they've got like 5 fucking games to pull from, just like they do with Lego Star Wars. They're just like we'll just remake those games in Lego form.
Mm-hmm.
I should pitch that. The coalition's not doing anything these days. Yeah, I think that's a great idea.
Cool.
Are they not doing it? Has Gears 6? Wasn't the new Gears of War stuff supposed to be a trilogy?
Apparently they are. Well, apparently they were working on a couple other things that all got cancelled because a bunch of people got let go from their project development stuff. So now it's only Gears of War 6. So I guess we got that to look forward to. Having said that, I haven't played a Gears of War game since Judgment. So
yeah, I haven't played one. I played 4, I guess, but like whatever. We don't talk about Gears of War. I don't talk. I am a. Hate me or love me for it, but I advocate to have people not play Gears of War.
Yeah, you guys say that, but I'm in the secret Venti club, and I get to hear about Gears every day.
Oh yeah, I love that for you.
But they're like
I'm
getting completion sweats, so they're now like doing a massive push. So they're like doing it literally every day. They're getting so fucking close.
Every time I hear an update.
So close. I'm not even joking. I reckon within the next month. Within the next month.
I just want them to all play Gears of War so that they can all stop playing Gears of War.
Yeah,
well,
exactly.
the new joke...
the sooner they start it, the quicker they can finish it.
The new joke is they're trying to convince Mike to start Gears of War 2.
Gears of War 2 is
that's the easiest one.
Yeah, I know, but she's also like, you want me to do that as well as just finishing Gears of War 3? Like, I know. Because they are so close to getting that achievement, it's not funny.
Every time I hear an update from that, I've like, and this is over months, right? Because this has been going on for like
months.
I've always been
that close to a year.
Yeah,
I've been
close to a year. We were talking about it the other day, and they had started almost a year ago.
And every time I hear about it, in the back of my mind, I'm like, I could do that. I still have like the Series C achievement is the last thing I need for Gears of War 3. And
you
then
just need to get enough people to do it, and you need to be able to get like multiple sessions in a week.
Yeah, so
because they've been doing at least 2 sessions a week, and now it's been like daily for the last couple of weeks.
I could not do it and this podcast at the same time because I would be playing the same thing every week. So I do not think I could deal with that. It'll probably be one of the ones that's always going to be sitting there. But
you know how that all started too? Them boosting Gears of War 3 basically was they've been going for a year, but that's only the middle of Admiral's story. Is because his seriously that progression got wiped. And he decided he was going to restart it, and then he recruited everyone else he was into doing it with him. Or it was like you can do it, we'll do it with you kind of vibe. Whatever, some camaraderie. Like
currently Admiral Admiral, Mike, and Kitten.
Yep.
So the three of them are doing it together, and they're just like pushing hard out. They're really pushing.
Well, Admiral's got it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's done.
Admiral got
Yeah,
it, yeah.
Admiral's got
Yeah.
it. So now it's Kitten and Mike, and they're just getting a little bit of help from Admiral, but they're like double boxing, and they had another friend help them out the other day, and like Mike has literally had both of her Xboxes running constantly for days,
Yeah.
just boosting this. Yeah.
If you told me I had to do Seriously 3.0 or complete Elder Scrolls Online twice, I would choose Elder Scrolls Online twice.
Fair.
I'm
Okay. What if I threw Binding Isaac at you?
literally
Seriously,
working on
3.0
Binding of
or
Isaac.
Binding?
I
Yeah,
love
true.
Binding of Isaac.
Fair.
I already have a bunch of the no deaths done. Like what do you mean? That's a joy. That's not a chore. That's a
True,
pleasure.
fair, that
Sounds
is
like a
fair.
fucking chore to me. Holy shit. I've looked at that list.
Hey,
Oh, dude, I
Kirby
love
did
Isaac.
it. Kirby did it.
I love
Yeah, Kirby
it.
did
It's
do-
so
yeah.
fun.
Anyway.
Yeah.
All right. Let's get into the news for real then, unless there are any other questions that I've missed. for real.
No, I think that's it. I went
Wonderful.
through, and there's no other questions.
All right. So yeah, Mortal Kombat 12 basically got announced at a investor call, and so it looks like it's slated to come out this year. They teased it a little bit last year, but this is like there were a lot of talks like, oh, they usually do the like April release for these kinds of games, and they don't usually talk about them beforehand because they usually went down the route of doing a Mortal Kombat, then an Injustice, then a Mortal Kombat, then Injustice, and then the whole thing with DC happened, and everyone was like, "Oh, probably not a great time to, put a bunch of time and money into DC when you don't know if you're going to have the rights."
Yep.
But yeah, so apparently it kind of got announced on an investor call. So apparently, Warner's holding off to avoid any. There's also Suicide Squad coming out, which is also DC. So we'll see what that happens. Although I have to that's Rocksteady, the people who made the Arkham trilogy, the good Arkham games.
Yeah.
I
mean, I'd be interested because, I always do like the. I'm very partial to the supervillain side of DC rather than the superheroes. They did one thing right, and that was their villains.
Yeah.
Fair.
DC knows how to make a villain.
They really do.
DC knows how to make characters. No, I love DC. DC knows how to make characters and villains and edgy, dark and edgy and gritty stories. They just don't know how to make media.
No, they really
don't.
Except for the Batman Arkham games, they just don't know how to make media, which is really unfortunate.
Yeah.
Their animated cartoons apparently are pretty good.
They are
for the
very
most
good.
part. I mean,
For the most
the
part,
fact that Killing Joke was bad really did really upset
and
me.
Young Teen Titans.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I love the original Teen Titan cartoons before they went.
I'm a DC fan in theory until you put me in front of a DC piece of media, and then I'm like, I'd rather.
How many Batmans have they gone through in the movie series? So far? Holy shit! They're going to recast for the new one as well.
I just don't know if they're I don't know that they've got the movies down.
Yeah.
Other
absolutely not.
Genre.
The Dark Knight trilogy, fantastic.
The first two, at least, yeah.
Fair enough.
I have some serious opinions about Dark Knight Rises, but anyway, back to the story at hand.
Yeah, Mortal Kombat.
Mortal Kombat. That's right. Yeah. So no, it's not a multiversus announcement. They are actually making a Mortal Kombat 12.
Yeah.
And it came. So there was an investor call where their CEO basically was gushing over the success of Hogwarts Legacy and the other games that they've had coming out. And they said, "Oh, we've got lots more games to come, including the anticipated Mortal Kombat 12 and the Suicide Squad, set for this year with ambitious launch projections." Which is like, hey, so technically they hadn't announced Mortal Kombat 12. So, yikes.
Well, there we go. We now know, don't we?
Worst kept secret in the world. Everyone knew it was coming. But it was surprising because we thought we were going to see a trailer at Game Awards or something like that and to show it off. But
or at least waiting until June,
And it's been 3 years since Mortal Kombat 11 or something like that.
Close.
Yeah, that's the thing. So
because we got really into it last year, so.
when you when you threw me that article, I was like, it was a weird thing where I the emotions I went through were kind of realizing that time is really weird. Because I saw it, I was surprised. I was like, "What? Already? Mortal Kombat 11 just came out," and then I had to realize, like, wait, no,
Actually,
it like actually is relatively old now.
Yeah.
I guess that, and games do come out like in the series, like that's an appropriate time between like games in a series. I'm like, oh, I guess, yeah, okay, sure, no, fair enough, fair dues.
Yeah, I mean, like I know, like Charlotte and I played quite a bit of Mortal Kombat 11 because they released like the complete edition a little while ago. So
yeah,
you know,
and I ended up buying it because I wanted the Joker and all of the additional content.
Yeah, it's a game I still need to play. I still want
yeah,
to.
right, exactly. And like, and the fact that they had the Joker in there was like everyone's like, oh, cool, they're going to work on Injustice 3. So yeah, so a little bit of surprise that it's going to be Mortal Kombat 12, but kind of understandable. Not really much else to say there. Like basically, it's just that the name got announced and that it's coming out this year. It looks like. I did like how Ed Boon tweeted. So has anyone heard the news about Injustice 3? So yeah, a massive troll as always. But I mean, I really enjoyed 10. I enjoyed 11 quite a bit as well.
Yeah, I really enjoy 11. I'm just like the tutorial stuff. I'm like, fuck.
Yeah,
Ugh.
I still need to do 11. It's on my forever backlog, as every game is, and I really liked a lot.
Ding.
You want Series X, Jake?
Yeah.
Okay, so because we're on the same, so if we're same, I own it too. But if we're on the same console, I can help out with some achievements if you need.
That'd be great. Yeah, that'd be
cool. It doesn't. So we worked out that we can't cross console.
It doesn't. Yeah, you have to be on the basis if you want to match and
oh, interesting. Yeah,
because we tried to help Bulbasaur, and like, it did not. It did not go well.
I have all generations of the Xbox One, so like I'll make it work. Whatever. Yeah, I also have it on PC stuff. Yeah, I liked your ding throwback, Neo.
Oh, thank you. It's been a while since we've had that one, but I figured, for the long time fans of AHA, they should.
Yeah.
Because I was like, when was the last time I talked about a game that I had to get back to? And if I scroll back, I really should just start adding those reactions to people.
But yeah, no, if you do need help, I can help with that. Just FYI.
Yeah,
perfect.
Because I still have it installed and I haven't uninstalled it, mostly because I know I need to get back to it, and it's like sitting there.
Yeah,
it's this like game that's just waiting for me to go back to and do.
You guys all better be ready when I'm done with school. We're gonna be playing so many games.
I'm ready.
To play games.
Yeah, I've got Dead or thinking of fighting games. I've got the same sort of thing for Dead or Alive 5 sitting there. The last achievement for doing the combo challenge with any character. Turns out I can't do them with any character at all. So doesn't matter. They let me use any character. Apparently, I'm shit with all of them. So, but I'll get back to it at some stage.
The only month I'm going to be like stuck is June. So, but like up until then, I'll be able to help out with anything pretty much.
All right. So we've also got some news, some more Warner Brothers tangentially related news. Where Embracer Group has bought the Lord of the Rings IP. And they're going to be working with Warner Brothers on a bunch of TV shows and movies. Apparently, they're going to have like 5 or so coming out in like the next couple of years. But they also announced that they're going to be working on like 5 different games coming out in the next 2 years, which is nuts.
That's nuts in 2 years' time. Like,
yeah, that's a lot. I mean, Embracer Group do own basically every studio known to man, so it's not hugely surprising.
It just makes me wonder what kind of games they're all going to be. Like, surely they would be all different types of games.
Yeah. So
if you're gonna do 5 within 2 years.
Yeah, and we don't really know exactly kind of like what there's gonna be. We know that they've got that Gollum game that they announced ages ago, which I think
that was a reminder of
the fact that it exists.
Yeah. I was reading the article because I was like, 5, what could they be like they would have to have announced some if they're coming in the next few years. And then it's like Gollum, I'm like, oh right.
Yeah. And one of them is definitely a mobile game too, so
Yes. So here's a Middle Earth, which I think EA is working on, and they've got something called Return to Moria, which is capping. So like there are a few that we kind of know about, but even so, like if Daedalic comes out, I mean, if Daedalic bring out Gollum, I think it got delayed again, so it'll be definitely sometime this year. But like, what the fuck are they gonna do? Like what kinds of games would you even expect to see in for a Lord of the Rings?
Tactical strategy game or RTS?
Yeah.
Yeah, that RTS was my first thought as well, going back to the like Battle for Middle Earth kind of, early 360 days.
RTS for sure is an obvious pick. I think a tactical RPG could work really well with the setting, and I think that'd be really fun.
Yeah, actually, I could definitely see that. I mean, they basically just rip off like Fire Emblem.
Yeah.
Three Houses or whatever.
Shit, I was thinking.
I played the shit out of
but
it. Lord
Fire
of the Rings.
Emblem, duh, of course. Yeah, no, and it'd be cool because it's like you just do it in like you're an army commander of one of the regimes or something or whatever. You can play as a bunch of different factions. It'd be cool. I think it'd be sick if they did a tactical RPG.
Yeah, I'd definitely give that a go. So this Return to Moria game is apparently being developed by Free Range Games. So we don't really know too much about it. But yeah, Golem was supposed to come out in like July 2022.
Yeah.
For just so you can see how long a delay it's been. Like it's over 6 months over, and we don't even know when it's coming out. Anytime between April 1st and September 30th, it looks like. So I don't know. Yeah, Return to Moria is supposed to come out this spring. I mean, I like Lord of the Rings. Like, I really enjoy Shadow of Mordor. Outside of those fucking Trial of the Ring and Trial of the Beast challenges.
Yeah.
Fucking eat a dick.
Yeah.
I have Shadow of War sitting on my backlog to be played.
Me too.
Yeah. That's another one of those ones where I sit there and look at it. I'm like, I don't know if I have the time to really.
Yeah.
Because it's a big game. They basically were like, Shadow of Mordor was pretty good. Let's make it 4 times as big.
I honestly, I was really hyped for Shadow of War, and I still am, and it still is a want to play game. But I'm also kind of like, was Shadow of Mordor enough? Did that like satisfy what I wanted from that experience? Do I want 60 more hours of that? Maybe one day, but like it's not on the top of my priority list.
That's exactly how I think that's how I feel, and like how a lot of people felt about it, especially now that they've kind of taken out the microtransaction stuff out of it, and it's just kind of it's just the game now.
Yeah.
Because I know the end game is like very grindy.
Yeah. That's what
which is like it's a real shame because like Shadow of Mordor was a really really well contained experience. It was like you only had like 2 decently sized maps. It didn't overstay its welcome. There was like just enough abilities and kind of interesting like Neomaster system. And I know that in Shadow of War they've like blown it out. So it's like there's like heaps of different more interactions, different types of units. You have like you have like orcs that are like bards and stuff, and all these weird classes and things, and just like weird interactions with each other in a way that's like in a way that's so complex and interesting that they've had to trademark the system so no one else can use it. So like I'm like every now and then I look at it on my list of like, oh, what am I going to play? And it's like, oh, that could be a good project game, and I may get back into it, but I just haven't really found the drive to get in there. I mean, having said that, they may do a third one, like Cameron points out. Like that game was quite a while ago, and it was relatively successful, so it would make sense if they want to do a third.
Crazy. It was 2017. I remember the year it came out. That's a long time ago.
Yeah. So
time's weird. I feel like that game came out a couple of years ago.
Yeah, exactly.
Just like Mortal Kombat 11. I was like, no, that came out a year ago. What do you mean? What are you talking about?
Yeah, I remember it. No, you don't. So I guess with the way time dilation works, we might even have 10 games by the end of the 2 years. Who knows? This is also just one I want to quickly touch on. Microsoft has announced a couple of 10-year deals with a couple of companies. The first one being with Nintendo. They basically said that they're going to be bringing Call of Duty day and date onto Nintendo platforms for the next 10 years, as well as potentially like other games in the Xbox catalog, which is super cool and interesting. I don't think we're going to be seeing like Master Chief Collection or anything like that, but if the latest like rare titles and things like that might be coming out, who knows? Could be interesting. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, like the reason this is happening, I think, is because of the whole all the resistance they're getting from the merger with Activision. They're getting a lot of pushback from both the FTC, the CMA, and I think there's an EU body in there as well. Basically being like, no, this is not good. Like, you need to sort some shit out. So I think they're making concessions left, right, and center. The biggest one probably being that they've announced a 10-year deal with NVIDIA to start bringing Xbox PC games to GeForce Now. for those who don't know, GeForce Now is a cloud streaming competitor to Game Pass, and I'd say Xbox Cloud Gaming as the second largest. And now Xbox has been like, yeah, no, we'll just bring the games over there as well, which is an interesting strategy. I don't know. Any thoughts?
I don't know enough about this NVIDIA platform, honestly. So you would just get the games with your NVIDIA subscription, and like you wouldn't need Game Pass at all?
I guess so. Yeah, I guess that's the plan. Is that like because it works like a subscription, like cloud gaming does.
Because I was gonna say at first with like all these 10-year deals, because they have been doing a lot. The one with Nintendo, they've extended the offer to Sony. There's I'm sure others they've talked about, and yeah, definitely it's to smooth over the deal for sure. But I also think Microsoft's trying to be way less hyper competitive in the because I think their goal is just to get as many subscriptions as possible. They don't care if you're playing on Xbox, they just want you to have a Game Pass subscription.
Yeah.
Which I think is super smart, because consoles don't make money. They're not a profit system. They're sold often at a loss.
Yeah.
At least to begin with, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, at the start. So when initially that's my reaction, is like, oh, they're just like, whatever, they don't care, they just want to sell subscriptions. But if they're selling them to a competitor, or putting these games on a competitor's platform where you don't need their subscription, then I'm like, that's an interesting move, I guess. Just to continue to smooth over the dealings,
I guess so. I mean, like it's like Xbox PC games, right? So it's like how many, if you think about like what's available on like PC Game Pass, it's not a huge library, right? Like it's a decent amount, but it's still not like every single game that they've ever got on the system, right? There's still a lot of stuff that isn't part of that. So I'm sure like money obviously changed hands here, right? Because NVIDIA themselves obviously don't release games themselves. They don't make the games. They anytime they want to put something on GeForce Now, they have to go and make a deal. Well, they do now. I remember originally when it came out, they were like, oh yeah, look, all these games that we can stream using our sort of streaming platform of things we can stream games you own to anything. And a bunch of publishers were like, no, you can't. You can't fucking do that to our games. We haven't worked out any kind of cloud streaming deal for any of this stuff. So a lot of it got shut down. So Nvidia has fucking money to burn. Like with the amount that they're charging for like a 4090, like they can fucking pay whatever Microsoft asks, right? And I'm sure Microsoft came to them with a pretty good deal, because like you said, they want to smooth some of the stuff over and make it look like they're not the only people in the space, and that they're not anti-competitive. It does.
Maybe Microsoft's just good. Maybe it's just good at Microsoft. Who knows?
Maybe, right?
No.
Like, yeah.
Maybe Microsoft's just like, no, we should all sing Kumbaya and be friends and stuff. Probably fat chance. But,
I was going to say, faceless corporations are well known for being for no reason.
Yeah, no. This is what do the TikTokers do? They just slant S now for sarcasm.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what's happening right now.
I guess I was just sort of thinking about it from like why this is happening. So to take it back a little bit, one of the things that was sort of pulled out in these reports was that in the cloud gaming space, Xbox is head and shoulders above everyone else, partly because Sony don't really do it all that much. They've only got a little bit of, they don't push it all that hard. And obviously Nintendo don't do it at all. Well, that's not 100% true.
They do it in Japan.
They do in Japan, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But again, that's a pretty small niche market, but that works for them, I suppose. And like Nvidia was the closest competitor, I guess. But it's funny because they were like, oh, they're a big competitor. It's like, yeah, but in terms of like their overall sales, like it's a tiny amount. Cloud gaming is still like hugely in its infancy.
Yeah.
So maybe it's just a case of them being like, this is good for optics, and like it'll cost us basically nothing because no one uses Nvidia GeForce Now anyway. So it's like, yeah, it looks good. We'll give them a couple of things. We get a pass from the CMA. We make a little bit of money. And it doesn't really cost us anything in terms of like, and it gets our games out there for market share and brand share. So
yeah. And I guess all these, like, these are deals with expiration dates. They're 10 years. So Microsoft, I guess, is just looking really, really far into the future. They're like, we need to buckle down now and get as much as we can now. So in 10 years, maybe they do plan to be a terrible faceless corporation, video game takeover monopoly, and who knows?
Yeah,
Who
exactly.
knows?
Game Pass, it's costing $100 a month because it's the only way
Yeah.
to play video games anymore, which is the dystopian future I think we're heading towards.
We're playing. You have to, if you want to play Mario or God of War, you're playing on Game Pass because they just ruled everything. Who knows? Who knows what their 10-year plan is? Video game domination.
Exactly. Yeah, you get to play any game you like in the sort of 5 to 10 minute break you get on mining the new Microsoft asteroid.
Yeah.
Sounds about right.
I don't know. You got any thoughts there, Charlotte, on cloud gaming? Because you used a little bit of it, right? In terms of
okay, so I do use it a little bit, and I have actually used it for the Valentine relay, but like I don't tend to use it very often. The only times I've used it recently is again to just pop into a game that I'm like, oh, actually, that's one of the ones that I've got in a spreadsheet for like popping an achievement. And it just happened that they had it on cloud gaming and went, sweet, okay, I'll go and do that. That's easier than having to install it onto my Xbox. I tend to use the remote play a little bit more. So like I'll remote into my Xbox from my phone. That's just if I'm being really like, I need to play while I'm upstairs or I'm away or anything like that. But like it works fine. As long as you've got a steady internet connection, it's fine. But I wouldn't tend to use it if I was actually going to play more than just popping an achievement. I wouldn't. I'd install the game.
It super depends on the game. I remember using it once in an airport in Massachusetts, and it was I played Forza 6, and it was fine. It was good. Like there was some weird artifacting and stuttering, but like it was fine on airport Wi-Fi, which is cool.
Yeah,
I'm a believer. I like it. I was a huge believer of it. Yeah, I even got a Razer Kishi. I have not touched. I haven't used it since because I haven't had a time.
Yeah.
I was really super excited for cloud gaming when I was traveling a lot with touring and stuff. But now I am a gremlin. So
yeah. Like I have my room set up so that I have like my office space / gaming space, and then my bed's on the other side of my like plant wall. So like I don't actually need to cloud game because it's all here. My TV's up on the wall with my Xbox hooked up to it. My computer's there. Like I don't actually need to use cloud gaming. Again, the only time I've used it recently is to pop an achievement in a game that I haven't got installed. And it just made it easier, right? Like, but there's a bunch of games that I have that are not on Xbox, on Game Pass or on cloud gaming. So it's not something I would use now. It's useful and it would be great when I do eventually go traveling. But again, when I go traveling at the end of the year, I'm going to be going to Portugal and there's an Xbox sitting there waiting for me to use. So, and same thing for when Dio comes here. Like, there's an Xbox sitting here waiting.
Yeah.
Like, the only thing would be useful is, like, being able to use it when you're traveling in between or at the airport and you're like, I just need to, like, pop an achievement because I've got a streak going or...
Yeah. It's not something I use all the time.
Yeah.
Or ever almost. But it's something I'm glad is here.
Yeah.
And don't want to go away and want to see it better. Because there might be a time in my life where I am traveling a lot or like have a use for it a lot. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that would be great. But for now, I don't use it a lot, but I'm glad it exists.
Yeah. Well, we know that Firehawk uses it quite a bit, and like in that,
yeah,
because he travels a lot. Again, it's that same thing. If you're traveling a lot, really useful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Super great.
Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely did think about getting a Razer Kishi at some stage because it was like
you
I
talked
was like,
about
oh yeah,
it for a while.
because I do travel quite relatively frequently, but I almost always have my laptop with me, so it's kind of like a, you know.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and you can just do basically the same thing on the laptop, right? Like can you even remote, or is it just?
Yeah, I can remote as well, but yeah, I sometimes just stream
but your laptop is also a gaming laptop, so like you kind of bought it for that purpose, that it's a gaming laptop, like.
Yeah, it's got it's got a 1650 in it, so it's like it's not super gaming laptop, but it does.
But it's decent enough.
Yeah. I didn't even know you could do that on a laptop. That's a game changer. That's great.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So like when I was down, when I was out for work last week, I was like streaming some Octopath Traveler and stuff just to catch up on things.
That's sick.
Yeah, all right. All right, well, we'll briefly touch on this last story. I don't really think we have too much to say here, but the Ukraine has asked, I'll say the Ukraine. So Ukraine has basically asked, the Ministry for Digital Transformation has confirmed that it's asked Valve, Sony, and Microsoft to halt the sales of Atomic Heart.
That is a completely different game. Yeah.
People shouldn't be playing Wild Heart anyway. It needs. Yeah. Anyway.
Yes.
But yes, Atomic Heart in the country, basically saying that because it has tangential links to the Russian government and the fact that basically potentially any money raised from the game can actually goes towards potentially the war in Ukraine, which is pretty fucked.
Yes, there's a lot of different things about this that kind of are like icky.
Yeah.
Especially when you look at the article and you see the part where they're like comparing the sex robots' hairdos to the Ukrainian.
Yeah, there's some stuff in there that's wicked. Like outside of all this, Atomic Heart has gotten it's a very polarizing game in terms of its reviews and what people think about it in terms of both from like a quality perspective, but also kind of like a controversy perspective. I don't know. I think it's an interesting idea, but I also feel like,
This put me off it more than before. Like, I was interested before because it looked really cool.
Yeah.
I didn't know much about the story. I didn't know much of this behind the scenes stuff. And now that I know a bit more, I'm like, oh, yeah, it kind of puts me off it much more. I'm like less inclined to want to play it, especially now that I've heard stuff about the gameplay as well on top of all of this. I'm like, huh.
Yeah, I'll probably still. It's on
Game Pass
subscription, so like whatever.
It's not like
there's no guilt there. I guess Microsoft already paid money for me on my behalf. I guess I guess I'm not going to cancel my entire Game Pass subscription.
No.
So I'll probably still play it because that. But I've heard the gameplay is super middling.
Yeah.
Which is was kind of just after seeing some of it was to be expected. People are like, yeah, it's not bad, it's not great, it's pretty mid, which is like, fine.
Okay.
On the question of should you buy it or not, I think
if you've got Game Pass, you don't have to. So
if you have Game Pass, you don't have to. So you don't have that moral dilemma. I was just having this conversation with like a friend actually, where I kind of came to the consensus of, I think it's fine to be careful. And if you're concerned your money could be going that place, it's probably fine to miss out on, especially because it's kind of a mid-game.
Yeah.
But also, like, I don't think anyone could necessarily condemn you because it's all a bunch of
rumors.
Potentiallys. They might be doing it. They could be. So it's like, that's kind of like, grain of salt, like, kind of buy at your own risk, I guess.
Yeah.
I saw one thing though about like data privacy stuff with it, and now it's farming your data for the Russian government. I think that's a load of horseshit, personally.
Yeah.
That's like me. Like I saw one person say they weren't buying it for that reason. And I'm like, that's absurd. Like that's,
I mean, look, if you're already playing
paranoia.
If you're already playing it on an Xbox console or any console, they already know everything about you anyway. So the cat's out of the fucking bag.
If you're going to be worried about that, then don't have TikTok or half of the other like Facebook or anything else where they collect data. Like,
I could talk to you guys for an hour about data privacy. Like, but when they told me that, I was like, that's paranoia, and that's
just getting a bit dumb. Like
that one's a little ridiculous. Funding the war in Ukraine is pretty ick. It's uncertain whether it's doing that or not. I also had the thought of the angle too, where it was like, they have these Russian investors, Russian tied to this Russian in general. That would have started way before the war in Ukraine.
Yeah.
But it's not. So it's like, how much money is still changing hands now that the game's done?
Yeah, like, is it still happening? Are they still invest? Yeah, like, that's the question.
And like, at worst, I mean, look, like, if they make money on the game, the Russian government is going to tax them and take some of that money. Like that, like at the end of the day, like there's no avoiding that. It is a Russian product. They're a Russian company.
Yeah.
That you are in some way supporting the Russian government in some way or another with funding.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's no avoiding that.
Yeah, and like I don't know. I'm as people will well know, I'm not usually one to bend to controversies like this.
But you also don't jump on things straight away anyway either.
So. No, that's true. That's true. I was actually looking at Atomic Heart as like because it has that sort of like Bioshock meets Wolfenstein kind of thing that actually interests me quite a lot. Yeah. But this has definitely given me a pause to be like, oh, this is like it's an interesting sort of nuanced issue.
Yeah.
In and amongst a time of many nuanced and interesting issues going on at the moment, it's like oh, okay, yeah, like this is having an understanding of where your games come from and who they support and all that kind of stuff is an interesting discussion.
It's becoming a lot more prevalent now, especially when everyone's like a lot more invested in the background of games.
Yeah, for better and worse, I think. And I think that as people learn more about how games are made and how developers and people are coming out about unions and developing conditions, I think the stuff around that is like who are investing in these games, who make money on these games.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's an interesting rabbit hole because you can dig into you could dig into most things. And find some reason to never want to support that thing.
100%.
Yeah, and then that ties into that whole cancel culture thing where it's like, there's a whole nother story.
There's certainly broader ones, bigger things that stick out, like this, for example, or other recent controversies. But you could dig into anyone and find something. So I think at the end of the day, you just gotta draw personal lines on what you're okay supporting.
I'm not going to judge anyone for the line that they've drawn. I prefer people. I'm not a huge fan of people being like, oh, I don't really care. I didn't really think about it. That's I understand, but I'm still not a huge fan of it. As long as you've considered it and then made your decision, I don't really care what that decision is.
Yeah, be mindful, be educated, don't be willfully ignorant,
Yeah.
There's the problem is it doesn't affect me, so I don't care mindset.
Yeah.
That's the problem.
And talk about fucking rabbit holes. That's a huge problem just in general, right? So
yeah.
Which is again why we talk about the stuff on the show, because there are some people who just this is where they get some of their news from. They don't know about any of this stuff. Congratulations. I'm just making playing games harder and harder.
Now make your informed decision. If you have Game Pass,
honestly.
You don't have to have any guilt, I guess. Or we boycott Game Pass, which I'm not going to do. Game Pass is great.
I got too many things leaving that I have to finish.
I'm just in the process of deciding whether I want Game Pass Ultimate or just Game Pass PC. So I'm
interesting.
Just at the point where I'm like, do I need?
That's an interesting.
Well, there's other reasons for that, but it's also partially because I don't have to pay for Game Pass because I also have a shared home.
Yeah, right.
Sure, fair enough.
So,
because
there's other things, but with my
PC,
I'm I don't have then Game Pass PC, so I'm at the point where I'm I have had Game Pass Ultimate, and that's been perfectly fine, and I've had it for a while now, and I keep going on and off, and depends on what I'm trying to play. But I'm maybe I just go for Game Pass PC now because I don't actually need Game Pass itself. I'm paying an extra $10 for something I don't actually.
Does Game Pass PC still come with EA Play?
I don't think so. I think it's Ultimate only.
Ultimate, I thought I was the same.
And I think cloud streaming's only for Ultimate as well, if I remember correctly.
Yes, that is true. But again,
but you can, right.
You still have
the home. It's fine.
Yeah.
So that's where I'm that's where I like Xbox for that side of things, because you can have for the fact that I do have Dio who has my home. For reasons that he's given me a gifted game, and so now he can actually play it alongside me, which is really cool. That makes me happy because it means we can both play the same game together. And the fact that you can sort of have that system works so nicely because it means that I can then sort of have a bit more freedom to play things.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I'm thinking, like, because EA Play, does that include, like, are there PC games within EA Play? Or just console? Yeah, there are? Okay.
There's a bunch of PC games with EA Play that are only on PC. You can play a lot of the retro library, which is...
But yeah.
Yeah, no achievements, but...
Okay, well, that might
so they might as well
make
not
me
exist,
reconsider it. But I'm like, I don't really need that, to be honest.
All right, I forgot where I'm at.
Yeah, like... I don't know that would be something that would come into my consideration. I'm just at the point where I'm like,
enough.
I'm just deciding what it is what I want to go from here. Yeah.
Oh, and shout out to Microsoft for finally getting back to me. So in the
What's
getting
that
my refunded
now? Like 6 months?
Yeah, so it took them 6 months to get back to me to refund my Design Lab controller.
Are they?
So they've done it. And they also called me back and they gave me 3 months of Xbox Live or Xbox Gold Ultimate, Game Pass Ultimate, which is nice of them. It only took
on top of your still another whole year or so.
Yeah, well, yeah, because at the end of it, he's like, yeah, so your new expiry date is like the end of 2025. I'm like, perfect. That's great.
I need to go on a good old-fashioned buying in bulk sale binge.
Yeah.
I've been paying monthly right now, and it kills me when I know usually...
Yeah, see, that's what I've been doing, and I'm also like, okay, I need to rethink this.
Bite the bullet.
I just didn't have the money the last holiday season, because they usually do what? They do like 3 months for like, I don't know, some % off, and that's usually when I stock up on like 2 years. Yeah.
Anyway.
Yep.
All right. I'll quickly get through the Game Pass update. Speaking of Game Pass, so Atomic Heart got released last week. We've also got Merge and Blade. Is that Merge and Blade? Is that a new one? Is that Mountain Blade? Oh, Mountain Blade. Maybe I'm wrong. Actually, I'm going to double check that. And we've got Soul Hackers 2 coming out February 28th, which I'm super excited about because that's another fantastic Atlas title. It's a good sign, and we're finally getting them over on both releasing on Xbox and then also coming to Game Pass. It means
but at what cost, Neo? We're losing Square Games.
Yes, this is true. We're losing Square Games a month before they're supposed to be fucking leaving.
Oh no!
So March 2nd, we've got F122 coming out for console and PC on EA Play, and on March 3rd, Wolong, Fallen Dynasty from Team Ninja. Guys who made the Neo games coming out, and it looks really fucking good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think there was like a beta going on at the moment that people are testing out, so I'm curious to kind of hear back around what people think. As for things leaving, we've got a Creative Assembly, the people who make Warhammers, made Alien Isolation, which is unfortunately leaving. Octopath Traveler, which we'll talk about. Final Fantasy 13 Lightning Returns, which is basically Final Fantasy 13 Part 3. Clown Trek, Dragon Ball Fighter Z, Fire Changing Tides, Madden NFL 21 are leaving at the end of this month, which is in a few days. Yeah. So if you're watching this live, you've got a little bit of time to catch up on some stuff. But if you actually, by the time this comes out, you'll probably be like 1 day left. So good luck if you've missed out.
You got time to start Octopath, right? Anyone?
I mean, yeah, surely.
You got time.
You could start it.
You haven't started it yet? You still got time.
I don't know about finishing it, but starting it.
Yeah.
What, Matt, you're up to like 80 hours now, aren't you?
I will. You know what? We're going to get straight into it. Fuck it. We're going to talk about what I've been playing. I'm going to go first because I've only been playing Octopath Traveler because it has taken up all of my time. So we didn't have a show last week, so I didn't get to talk about it. We didn't have a normal show. We had the spoiler cast.
Yeah.
So I had started Octopath Traveler because I figured it would probably be leaving in March because that's when it came out 2 years ago. And so I was like, cool, I'll start it now. And even if it ends up on the leaving thing, I'll probably have, I'll have like a month or so to work on it. So I put 30 hours into it. And then what do I fucking know? Shortest month of the year. So they announced it nice and early. Octopath Traveler is on the list of things leaving.
Yep.
It is a 100 to 120 hour game. I was 30 hours in. I am now 90 hours in. It has been a week. It has been a week, for sure.
I think you're going slightly mad.
A little bit. I am losing the will to live a little bit. I am right at the end of the game. I am up to the final boss, basically. So the end of the game is a boss rush. So you need to fight like 8 bosses and then the final boss. And the final boss, of course, has 2 forms. And you can't save in between them. So... And once you go into this final area, it's the final area, and you're stuck there until you finish it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I have thoughts. But I also want to throw over to you, Jake, because I know you've been playing this as well as your background shows.
Yeah. So I also decided to start do Octopath. Octopath is a game I dived. It was a game I was like, super excited for. So when I got this news on again the shortest month of the year, great. I'm cheated out of 2 extra days. I was like, there's no way. Yeah, I was like, there's no way, but you know, whatever. It's an excuse to jump on it. So I've been playing it also exclusively nonstop. My time is at like 60 or 70 hours. However, there's a bit of idling there, to be fair. Like there's a fair chunk of idling. I'm about halfway. I'm starting chapter 3s finally.
Cool.
So I started with like no hours. Now I'm at 60 hours. I am not finishing. I don't think I'm finishing. If it was the full 30 like full days amount of days, I think I might. And it's possible. It's going to take a little bit of a miracle, but I still think I think I could do it. We'll see. Time will tell. I'm gonna probably after this play it until I pass out, and same story tomorrow and Sunday. And schoolwork is secondary. It's fine.
Yeah,
Agreed.
it's fine.
Same opinion. That's exactly what I'm going to be doing.
Yeah, I was kind of confident going in because I just did this in December with Dragon Quest because Dragon Quest was another.
That's exactly
game
what I was thinking because I remember like Dragon Quest was it 11?
Yeah, that was another game I dived, so I had no time in it at all except for popping the first achievement. It got announced for leaving. That's another 100-hour game, and I absolutely no lifed it. And finished with a few days to spare. This one's not going as smoothly. I can't no life it quite as hard. I'm finding like I get distracted on other things and idle for an hour or two at a time. So
yeah,
let's talk about the game.
There's a lot of thoughts about. I have a lot of thoughts about this game because
same.
It was a real darling when it came out. People were super excited for like the style, and it had been a while since we'd had a game like this. Again, in that same sort of like, or at least on like a console, so we had like Bravely Default and all that kind of stuff, and Bravely Second and all that sort of things with like job systems and all that sort of stuff. I don't think this is a very good game. Like story-wise, it's basically non-existent. So the way the story works, for those who don't know, basically you have 8 different characters. You pick a main character to start with, and you play through their first chapter. And then you have the choice of continuing their chapter, which is like their story. And like it's quite a big level jump between the chapters. Or you can go to a different character and do their first chapter to get their character to be part of your party. And the idea is that you pick a character and you go around the world, and there's kind of like the world is kind of like a spiral in that, or it's like 3 concentric circles. So the middle circle is the first chapter for everyone, and then you have some towns on the second one, which are like tend to be the second and third chapters for people, and then the fourth chapters for everyone are on towns on the far outside ring. So the world is split into 8 different zones. You have about 3 cities per zone, 1 in each like tier, if you will. The game doesn't have good balance. It doesn't have it can't do, because the thing is that you can play this game in any order you like. You could pick any character, you could go to any chapter, as long as it's sequentially. So you can't do chapter 2 before 1 for a character, but if you wanted to, and one of the achievements is for doing all 4 chapters with a single character without picking up another one, which I'm going to have to do a speed run for after this if I have time. The way the story works is the first thing I did is like the TA walkthrough was also very, very good. You can basically go around, collect all the characters, and build up your party, and kind of like, okay, well, which chapters do I challenge? And like they have like a level rating on them of like how difficult they are, so you can kind of pick and choose which one you do. But the game acts like you have not picked up anyone, because the party doesn't interact with each other at all. Well, okay, that's a little unfair. There are occasionally you'll have like banter thing where like if you do a quest, sometimes if you have other people in your party, they'll chime in with like a little like 10-second cutscene of them just standing there. But their stories don't intercede at all. So, for example, I picked Cyrus as my first playable character. He's a scholar, so he's like a dark mage, based black mage. His story is basically like he gets kicked out of school because someone spreads a rumor that he has an inappropriate relationship with one of his students, who happens to be the princess. he goes off on he realizes that like one of the books, like an ancient tome that he's looking for, has been like removed from a library, and he goes on a quest to try and find it and figure out why. Because he's this guy who's like super into knowledge and like kind of like blinders on. I gathered every other party member, and like there's a bunch of stuff where it's like, oh hey, I'm interacting with a character who would know this other character and all that kind of stuff. They don't show up in any of the cutscenes. The game just pretends like you don't have any other characters. So the stories don't intercede in a way that makes sense until, well, okay, minor spoilers, until right at the very end of the game, in which case they know you have all 8 characters, and they know that, like, the game doesn't know where you're at or when you're going to get to something, so it can't basically build up tension, build up planning. And because I'm jumping between stories, I was like, oh yeah, I did like chapter 2 for Cyrus, and then I didn't get to his chapter 3 until I'd done everyone else's chapter 2, and his chapter 3 was actually one of the last ones that I did. So I went through all of chapter 2, and it was all of chapter 3 before I got back to the story, and I was like, fuck, what was he doing again? I don't fucking remember, because it's just, yeah. So I have some big fucking problems with the story. I think it's basically trash. The game is basically the same thing. It's the same thing, like fucking what, 34 times? 32, I don't fucking know, 8 times 4.
Yeah.
Every chapter is basically you end up in a new town, something happens in the town, and you have to go into a dungeon next to the town and fight a boss. A really short dungeon, a really usually relatively annoying boss, and then there's some really trite stuff around, like, oh, you know, I'm trying to find myself, or I'm trying to do this, or I'm going on my hero's journey. But the hero's journey is only 4 missions long, because every character only has 4 chapters. So like in a normal JRPG where you collect a big party, you want a big fucking epic quest, they're all interacting with each other, and sometimes you get a betrayal, or sometimes people change and that kind of stuff, or people, you know, the party splits up, and you kind of go on this big long journey of 100 hours. I've basically just been playing like 10-hour chunks of each of these 8 characters, like their stories completely independent of each other. So
like 8 different games. Yeah,
basically, yeah. It feels like 8 different games in a way that I just really, really do not like. The combat, the stuff like early combat, I like. I like the idea of the combat. The way it works basically is it's your typical turn-based RPG, except that similar to say Final Fantasy X, you can see the order of when people are going to go, and so messing with that order is a big part of that game around like timing. So what happens is if you enemies have weaknesses, one of the achievements is for revealing every weakness of every enemy. I'll get to that in a second. Basically, you can weaken an enemy by hitting them with something they're weak against, and it drops a number next to their thing with a shield on it. And so when that gets to 0, they break, they become vulnerable, and they take basically double damage or close to it. They take extra damage, and they lose their turn. They lose the turn of the turn. Well, they lose whatever turn they're on and the next turn. So, for example, if someone's already, like a strategy you can do is if someone's already attacked you, and you're about to weaken them, you might wait until the next turn to hit them, so they'll be up for that turn and then the next one, rather than trying to do it too early. So like there is some strategy involved in kind of like timing and like working on like whose turn's going to be next, how can you power each other up, who can weaken what. Starts off not great, because you don't have a lot of variety in the characters. Each character has like a single job that they're assigned to, scholar, and they have different weapons they can use, like axes, daggers, swords, bows, spears, basically. 5 weapons, and there's like 5 elements. And so everyone has different kind of weaknesses. And you don't get a huge amount of variety in that. It's like, well, if I want to do this kind of damage, I need either this character or this character. I need like, if I want an axe, I need the apothecary, or I need a hunter. No one else has an axe, basically. And if I want to do any kind of elemental magic, I basically only have my scholar. He has, 3 different types. Or like some of the other individual classes might have like 1 elemental attack. So it starts off like not great. The strategy is kind of just like, well, I'm just going to keep hitting them with whatever I've got until they're dead or I'm dead. It does get a bit better because you can earn secondary jobs for people and equip them. So you can like mix and match. So for example, I had my scholar, Cyrus. He's a scholar, so he has magic. I equipped him with the merchant class, which allows him to basically give power-ups to other characters, heal himself, and also do like wind magic, which is like an element that he didn't have. So it changes up the variety a little bit. They can learn new spells and abilities, and they also have passives that you can learn from any class. And then when you change class, you can keep the passive abilities, which is quite useful. Which makes it a little bit better. But again, I'm still wasn't really enjoying the combat all that much, and obviously the story was not driving me, and I just kind of felt like I was bashing my head against it. The other big problem, and this is not necessarily the game's fault as such, but this is an achievement hunter's problem, is that the achievements for this game are fucking awful. One of the achievements, okay, so there's an achievement for collecting every hidden item, which means you need to basically interrogate every single person you come across to see if they reveal a hidden item. There are a couple of missable ones. You need to open up every single treasure chest, which means you need to make sure you've got them all marked off. And you also need to reveal the weakness of every single regular enemy and mini boss in the game. I got to the end. I got the treasure chest one. I got the hidden one. I did not get the weaknesses one. I was missing a weakness somewhere. And I basically went to my my spreadsheet. There's literally a massive spreadsheet that you need to use if you're going to be doing this game. And unchecked everyone off and started right from the beginning. I was lucky that I found it in like the second area that I went to, so I only wasted about an hour. It was one of the first enemies in the game. I'd forgotten to hit it with a spear because I didn't have a spear at that point in the game, and I just missed it. I was very, very lucky because that was the second area out of 8. So I could have been there for a long fucking time. You also need to collect one of every item in the game, so good luck with that. And just reading the guide for the final boss, apparently it's actually like RNG bullshit if you want to get through it without like super over leveling. So I have the choice of either getting all my characters again, because you only have 4 characters in your party. Any other character who's not in your party doesn't get experience, which is again cardinal fucking sin for an RPG. They should at least level up a little bit.
These days, at least, I feel like they used to not be a thing. Now it's like, yeah, they should. Yeah.
I mean, like, look, if they get half experience because I'm not using them, fine. As long as they're getting something, so I don't come back at like level 70 to have to use a level 30 fucking dancer. Yeah. But it turns out the final boss uses all 8 characters. So all my underleveled characters, I'm gonna have to go fucking hit the grinding treadmill and get them all up to like level 70 to make sure I have a chance at this. And then the guide is like, yeah, so the final boss, yeah, I hope you've captured a bunch of this really rare enemy, because if you don't, like, it's complete RNG on like whether we can beat it or not. And the guy's even like, yeah, I don't know if there is a legit way to beat this boss, which I'm sure there is, but yeah. So safe to say, I'm not having an amazing time with this game. It probably doesn't help that I'm having to go hell for leather and actually rush through it before it leaves Game Pass. But I am 90 hours into it. I am at the final boss. I'm probably going to spend like another 5 hours grinding and then 5 hours fighting the final boss to get to my 100-hour achievement anyway. And then I have to somehow squeeze in a less than 8-hour speed run using a single character for the last 2 achievements, which we shall see if that happens, because it is the 25th today. So really cutting it close. Anyway, that huge fucking rant is only because that's literally the only thing I played this week, and probably will be next week as well. So we'll see how things go. But yeah, that's me. Charlotte, what have you been working on?
Pretty much not much, but like the last 2 weeks, I've been working on the Valentine's relay with Valak. So we started on Valentine's Day, and have been going for a little while now. We kind of have hit a stalemate at the moment, but only because I'm waiting on doing Halo. So we're going to try and do that today. So we have managed to get to 28 achievements and 9 different genres in our relay.
Pretty good.
We've been going through. Currently, we've dropped down the list a little bit with our team Aha Hog PogChamps. But like the top 2 teams at the moment are sitting on 274 achievements and 43 genres.
Trying to get them all.
We look really hard at those competitions, man.
Like,
Yeah,
there's
I can't do
3
those
people
anymore.
in the 200s, and then 4 people below that in the 100s, and then under that, there are people that are just going for this, which is cool. Like, we're gonna try. We're currently sitting at 74.
Pretty good.
Yeah, like for our spreadsheet, the list that we've got would get us to about 50 different achievements. So there'll be like 50 different games as well, and we should get to about 12 different genres. So that we'll either keep going, because it goes for an entire month.
Yep.
Like, it goes until the 13th of March or whatever it is. So like, we've still got heaps of time. We just kind of slowed down a little bit because it's getting to the point where we're kind of in a stalemate with trying to get achievements in slightly longer games, or ones where I kind of just need a little bit of help, because the Halo is the one that me and Deo. It's the first game that we actually started together, and one of our first dates was Halo. So going back to it again is kind of fun because we kind of put it on hold for a little while, for about almost a year. So it's going to be interesting. We'll see how we go.
Is that MCC?
No. It is
It's the
this
CE
one,
360
in fact.
collection.
It's the sorry, you can't see it. Yes, 360 Combat Evolved Anniversary.
Okay. Thank God.
Yeah. Not MCC. No. Yeah, because like I'd said that I wanted to play it ages ago when we first started talking, and he'd suggested it as like a date, and so I went and bought the disc and we started it. We popped a couple of achievements in it, but we ran into issues with like real severe lag. But my internet in the last day has just gone up, so now I'm getting like close to 200 download speed. So
Welcome to 5 years ago.
I know.
I'll say
Jeez,
welcome to
finally we're
current
sitting in the
decade.
future. Like, so my internet is running so much smoother as of today, which is very nice. My phone was getting close to 600, 650, I think, was the check that I did earlier this morning. My PC is getting almost 200. My Xbox is getting 190. So
That's fine.
pretty
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
I'm directly underneath the router, so yeah, so that's pretty cool. But like the relay's been quite interesting because we created a spreadsheet, and the idea behind it was that we were going to try and do as many backlog games as possible, so we're not starting many new games. So I started with my Down in Bermuda, which I'd been playing, which is starting with a puzzler. Dio went for Rayland. I then did The Bridge. He did Unravel 2. I did have to start a new one, Dreaming Zero, but it was like an easier baby game, so that was fine. He went to Speedrunners. I then went to Ori and the Blind Forest. He went to Rise of the Tomb Raider, and then Crackdown 3. So you get the idea. We kind of just tag teamed. And because you can't repeat a game, so like if I do Crackdown 3, he can't then use Crackdown 3. But we found a way of doing it so that it was like a bit easier. So he was able to do Borderlands Game of the Year edition, and then he did Borderlands 3. I then went and did Tiny Tina's Assault on Dragon's Keep. He did Borderlands the pre-sequel. So we found ways to sort of make it work. My next one is going to be Halo. And then I think... Oh, that's not what I wanted. I think we're going to try to move away from the open world to something else. I'm just going to have a look. Yeah, because I then need to go through Scorn, and then we're moving back into puzzle again. And then we're going to eventually move into like collection, and then stealth. We've got some stealth in there, and then action horror we're going to move into towards the end. So that'll be
okay. Yeah,
interesting little change. Yeah. So we're kind of just over the halfway mark for our spreadsheet, and then we were going to decide if we wanted to keep going from there and just see how we go. It just gets to a point where it's a little bit tricky, but it's pretty good. It's not actually that hard. Like, as long as you did like prepared yourself, it was actually fine. Especially going through all our backlog games and stuff like that. And I've gone to games that I haven't touched in a while and just popped in an achievement and been like, actually, you know what? I could probably go back to this game. So it's kind of getting me back on that. Hey, I could actually go back and start finishing a few of these, which has been nice. But it has meant that I've had to like install and uninstall stuff. So that cloud gaming option has been really, really useful. So that's pretty much where I'm at. I'm working my way towards that 200,000. I'm kind of halfway there. I'm sitting at 178,631.
Damn.
So I'm
Not
getting
that far
there.
at all.
Yeah, getting there. So slowly but surely. And then Jake, where are you at for the last however long?
For the last year or so.
What have you been playing?
So yeah, still just Octopath, and I was playing Deathloop at the beginning of the month because it was AH's book club game. That game, I really enjoy it. I've been playing it pretty guideless, just like going through trying to be stealthy, and it's been really fun and satisfying to me. It's glitchy, glitchy achievements. I ran into a story achievement that actually glitched on me, so I do have to restart. I'm just gonna get everything else, and then you can like turn on assists, and I'll be able to get in a couple hours. So I'm not too upset about it. It's not the end of the world. It's not like High on Life where I had to run through the whole game again, and but even that was only like 6 or 7 hours. It wasn't it wasn't the end of the world. Like whatever, it was a fun enough game. But I stopped playing that for Octopath. I have similar opinions to Neo, but different as well. I think a lot of the issues with the story, like most of my issues are with the incohesiveness of the story and them not combining everything. I think that was a huge missed opportunity. I think what they should have done is just because other RPGs have done that and been super successful. Live a Live is one.
Yeah, right.
A bunch of old PS1 RPGs did like sort of short stories kind of for like a bunch of different characters. We pick them. Final Fantasy IV, the after years, I think even did something kind of similar. They broke it up into like different characters, but you played the whole character story, and then after you played every character's story, they were all revealed. Then they came together, and that was really cool and done in a really good way. So I think that hurts it a lot. I think the stories that are there, I've been able to pay decent enough attention to them, I suppose. I think the stories that are there are good. I enjoy them. Some of them are kind of missed. Some of them are better than others. I really enjoy the combat personally. I didn't in the first chapter. I agree there were not enough choices. And then I came back in the second act when I started getting more stuff. I thought it was really good.
Yeah, I agree. I think that it definitely, as it expands, it definitely gets better as you get more options.
I heard they fixed it in the sequel where they made the characters can go intertwine more,
right? Which
is great.
Not that we're getting it on Xbox apparently, but
yeah, I guess so. Whatever. There's something else I wanted to say about Octopath. I think it's best. So I'd say it's probably best played, and it's hard to do this in the achievement setting because if you want to do it as efficiently as possible, you're gonna want to pick up every character and do everything, and then do one more playthrough for the speedrun. It's probably better enjoyed if you just pick up like 4 characters and then do like 1 or 2 stories at a time and actually focus on them and enjoy them. I think the game was super overhyped for sure. That might be because we didn't have a game like that in a while, like was said. And also it came to the Switch first, and Switch Nintendo people have a tendency to make diamonds out of nothing. Like it was, it's an okay game. It's fine. It's good. It's good. It's not great. It's good. I wouldn't recommend trying to do it in 2 weeks.
No.
But I'm enjoying it. I am. I'm gonna buy it because I'm not finishing it. It's the 24th, I guess, for me. And I'm only halfway done with like the main story stuff. So yeah. Other than that, after that, when it leaves and I have to buy it and I have to swallow my, I guess, pride maybe. It'll be nice to play other games for sure. And take it a little more chill.
Yeah.
Go back to Deathloop. Start Devil May Cry. I want to finally do. I have a race with another member of the Achievement Hunter Anonymous AHA Discord. We're gonna see who can beat Devil May Cry faster.
Nice.
Just based on like game time, not like
which one?
Actual real time. HD trilogy.
Oh boy. Okay.
Yeah, and then I think we're actually planning to do the same thing for each game in the series. So 4, 5, and DMC.
Do it.
I mean, like DMC, like the DMC one was actually the only one that I've done both versions of and actually enjoyed well enough.
I like that game a lot.
Yeah, I know. I got noticed it when it came out.
I do have another game that is not. It is kind of out of left field, and it's not more just talking about Octopath. This is Octopath Traveler, the podcast, in case you guys.
Yeah, no, this is definitely Octopath
Traveler. Or Pathway to Octo. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's our title.
I decided to try to play Elder Scrolls Online again because I got it when it came out and didn't look at the list and didn't know what Emperor was even after starting it and looking at the list. And then, like everyone, I was super, super disappointed, and my heart was broken to learn that it was for hitting #1 in the world on your leaderboard for your faction for the week. And it's really hard, and I'm sure it put a lot of people off starting the game and playing the game, myself included. Kind of, it was kind of like I'd already started it, so it's too late. But I was still just like, ugh, well, I'm never gonna finish it, so what's the point? But I've kind of taken a new, and I tried to start it again like 3 separate times, where I was like, no, I'll get Emperor one day. Like I'll, if you just go for it, you'll get it. Which I still believe. I think if you just go for it, you will get it. But you just need to be able to set aside 48 hours of your life, which is easier said than done. You know, to set aside 48 hours of your life with like only like 4 to 6 hours dedicated to sleeping, and like that's a tall ask. But it's doable. Most people I hear of who go for it get it. You just, the 48 hours of your life is a big barrier. So I've taken a new approach to where I'm not trying to like super min-max from level 1. I'm just going through each area, taking my time, actually listening to what the characters have to say for the quest, so I can immerse myself in the areas, imagine playing games to enjoy the story, and not just to get as many gamer points as you can.
Good
and it's been good.
I mean, we don't go for as many gamer points as we can. What?
No gamer points.
No.
Because I also bought like 4 of the expansions and haven't played them, and I was excited for them. Like I wanted to go to Morrowind. I thought that was cool. I wanted to see it elsewhere and dragons and stuff. So I'm kind of just playing through the game a little more casually. I'm going through the zone quest lines and getting my character maxed out by doing that, and then I'll probably go around and do all the other little side things. And I've decided I'll be happy with whatever I can get out of the game, which has been nice. So it's been fun to play Elder Scrolls Online again. Cool. It's a fun game. It's good.
Awesome.
And a little Monster Hunter World.
Oh, yeah.
Just a little.
Just a little bit, yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
So that's what I've been up to.
Cool.
Yeah, so it's been a busy couple of weeks for us. Let's get into the leaderboard, Charlotte. I've gotten it in here in the Trello.
Let me just bring it up. Okay, so for our leaderboard this week, we have Martel in 3rd place with 13,180. In 2nd place, we have Thrash Forever with 15,345. And in 1st place, we have McLovin Legend with 24,013 gamer score.
It's been a busy week for these guys.
Yeah, that's pretty epic. And then in completions, we have Rapture with Back for Blood and Brawlhalla. David with Trash, of course, not surprising. Divine Fear with Escape Academy. Aftos with Trine Enchanted Edition. Valak with Far Changing Tides, Avengers, and Deathloop. You can tell he's been like, Valak in games leaving.
Yep.
Saint Yates with Hot Wheels Unleashed and Shadow Warrior 3. The Moon's On with Walking Dead. Happy Moogles with GTA 5. Natolinator with Hot Shot Racing. Frost with Titanfall 2 and Evil Within 2. Drunken Monkeys with Grime, Firehawk D with Jump Force and Turnip Boy, and then Chin Doctor with NFL 21.
Nice work, guys. Got some good completions. I'm hoping to add Octopath onto that list later this week. All right, let's get into the word challenge. It's been heating up. People have been, people getting really chomping at the bit trying to figure it out. This is going to be the one that gives it away. So if you don't know what the word challenge is, basically I come up with a game. I set a bot with a GIF with the title of that game, and we have a channel on our Discord, discord.io/WallofGamers. If you guess the correct game in that channel, the GIF pops up and we'll give you some money. How much money that is, we need to work out with exchange rates and other bullshit, but you win. The first clue was Australia. And the first clue was Australia because I was asked to give a Chin Doctor level difficulty clue. So it is completely unhelpful. The second clue was that as part of a series, it's had over 4 different developers. Third clue was that it released before the year 2000. Fourth clue was that it has many playable characters that are based on animals. And this last clue, and this is the last one I'm giving away, because if you don't get it at this stage, you guys are hopeless. This game had a remaster released in 2019. So good luck to you guys. I've seen some really good guesses in the chat. You get one guess per hour, so get in there, get your guesses.
There was
if you're
one
listening to this,
so close too.
yeah, there was some that were really close.
Come on, you guys have got
Obviously, I don't
this.
want to say who because it'll give it away.
I know.
But good luck. Hopefully, you're listening to this live or checking the Discord because I'll put the clue in there after the show. All right. We've also got our Patreon. For those who don't know, Patreon basically is a way for you guys to give us some money so we can afford to keep the show going. We greatly appreciate all the support of our patrons.
Plus, Zoom is expensive, guys.
Zoom is fucking expensive. They put the price up this year as well, and I just had to pay that a couple of weeks ago. So yes, patreon.com/Hall of Games if you want to give us some money. I also release Song of the Week early on there, as well as putting in the sort of beginning and ends of the behind the scenes stuff for these episodes.
Stuff. Yeah.
And any kind of new projects or anything else that we do on there, we'll release on Patreon, usually exclusively, but at the very least earlier.
Yeah, like you get everything usually pretty much earlier than everybody else.
So I just want to give a thanks to Lee Howard, Mikhail KV, Chapters, Ntolinator, Firehawk, Mad Lefty, G Spaceman, Admiral Awesome, Keo, Happy Moogles, Kung Fu Skills, Hack and Pone, Cavalier 07, Old Mate Clown, Mark B, and McLoving Legend. Thank you very much for your guys' support. We literally would not be able to afford to do the show without you guys. So thanks for keeping the lights on. All right. And that's kind of probably going to bring us towards the end of the show. Like I said, you can join us on Discord in our community if you want to come hang out with us. Discord.io/HallofGamers. That's where we do all of our stuff. That's where we hang out. We talk about news. We've got a meme channel, all that kind of shit. Otherwise, we do the show live on Twitch every week. Xbox Hall of Gamers is a place to find us if you're not watching us live already. And if you want to contact us in other ways, hallofgamerspodcast@gmail.com or @hallofgamerspod. You can send us some questions on there. Put them in the Twitch chat. We've got a questions channel on the Discord. However you want to get questions to us, we love reading them out on the show. And if you'd like to be on the show, make sure you get in touch with us. We can slot you in. We're always keen to get people on.
Happy to have guests. We also do have on the Discord and on the Twitch, there is a link to the form that you can fill out if you do want to be a guest.
Yep, and we'll sort you out. Again, we're relatively flexible on like the timings for the show based around our guests. All right, Jake. Let's. Yes. We've gotten to the shilling part of the podcast. What have you got to say for yourself?
The shilling part? What is that?
Yeah, just what do you got going on? Do you want people to find you? You're running any promotions?
Okay. What is this?
Are you selling a book? What do you got?
Shill yourself.
No, I'm not selling a book. I'm not. You can, if you want to hang out with me, if you thought I was fun and entertaining and interesting, you can join our Discord. Achievement Hunters Anonymous. You can find us. I actually don't know where I.
There is a link somewhere. We have one, I think, linked in our Discord.
I believe we got a partner link on the.
Yeah, we're partners with. Yeah, because we're all good homies and friends. Yeah, you can come hang out there. I want to start getting some more stuff off the ground for community stuff, so look forward to that. We do a book club every month where we vote on a game to play as a community, and we play it and talk about it. Sometimes we hate it, and we all bitch about how much we hate it, and sometimes we really all enjoy it and talk about how much we enjoy it, and that's really cool and fun. If that tickles your fancy. Also, I did stream on Twitch, but I took a long break because of school, but I'm probably starting back up.
Ooh.
The goal is March 1st. So if you also thought I was entertaining, you can go follow my Twitch channel. It's twitch.tv/justjakesd.
You'll probably find me in chat too if you do.
Yeah, Char looks me up. It's great. I appreciate it. And there's links to that also in the Discord as well. It's kind of like a half streamy community, half Achievement Honey community. Whatever tickles your fancy. Not one or the other is forced on you. You can pick and choose whatever one you want to be a part of. But that's those are probably the important places to find me. Is my Twitch and in the Discord. Love to hang out with you. Love to have you. Love to see you.
Fantastic. Charlotte, what about you?
I also used to stream. Haven't for a little while just because of life and all sorts of stuff, and I'm trying to find a good balance, especially with studying this year again, and I'm changing jobs in a couple of weeks, so we'll see how we go. I think I have a plan to try and start streaming through winter because we have daylight savings and it just makes it a little bit easier. So you might see me around on Twitch under Charmandosaurus_Rex. I also just hang out in Discord's Hall of Gamers, so Xbox Hall of Gamers Discord, and the Achievement Hunters Anonymous Discord too. My name is usually the Char with many names, because I have many names. And then on Twitter occasionally, but I'm also sort of taking a little bit of a step back on Twitter. Just don't post as often. At the moment, I'm just doing a 100-day art project, so that's kind of fun to follow along. I'm doing one piece of art every single day for 100 days, and they're all going to be cats, just FYI. So if you're like, oh, there's 3 days of cats, is this
But
how
yeah, there's going to be
trend?
97
Yes.
more days of cats.
Yes, it's just all cats. They're gonna slowly get a little bit more intricate and detailed. Today is going to be a little bit of a challenge, and I'm hoping that I can do it. But my today's one is going to be quite cute, so I'm excited for that. That's me. What about you, Matt?
Wonderful. And as always, I'm Neomaster on everything True Achievements, Xbox, and Discord if you need to find me for whatever reason. And a big thank you to our community. Thank you to Jake and to Charlotte for joining me this week. And thank you to our patrons for letting us do the show. That's episode 69. We will catch you guys next week. See you later.